Yo, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe right now if you have at least one win in Warzone. Alright, what is happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. So today our Warzone, pretty awesome patch update for the agency suppressor, along with a few other different things. And I'm gonna have to cover a lot of those changes and stuff here in a different video, because there's so much stuff going around. There's also a lot of testing that needs to be done. But for today's video, we have a tried and true laser beam of a weapon here that we're gonna be covering. That is indeed going to be the Kilo 141. I know you guys on my channel, and also a lot of people in Warzone just genuinely love the Kilo just because it literally has almost no recoil. It's probably like the most accurate gun to use in the entirety of Warzone. Even though it did get a bit of a damage range nerf a little while back, it's still incredibly accurate, which is why I still see a ton of people using it for their primary AR. And to be honest, I actually really understand that because I really like using it. Even though it's not necessarily as good as it was before, it's still incredibly good. So before we get any farther into today's video, if you guys can do me a favor and drop a like on this thing and subscribe. Okay, so it's on what I'm feeling for the day. Sometimes I run the FFAR, sometimes run the MAC-10. It just kind of is what it is. If I'm running a backup of like an FFAR, or sometimes I swap that out to like the MAC-10. It really just kind of depends on what I'm feeling for the day. Sometimes I run the FFAR, sometimes run the MAC-10. It just kind of is. Time overkill and amped, and then along with the Semtex as my lethal, or maybe sometimes
What? What's wrong? Here.
This is indeed going to be the homecoming variant. This is like the Emerald Tracer type variant of this gun. I think this is incredibly awesome. I love actually using this thing. It's probably the best looking Kilo in the entirety of all, the variants they've ever put out here for this gun. So first things first, we're going to jump into the muzzle category, and we're actually going to throw in a suppressor onto this gun here, and we're going to throw in the monolithic suppressor for that sound suppression and that damage range. This is going to be the best suppressor you guys can possibly use for the Kilo. There's no real ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just the monolithic is indeed the best, much like for the Cold War weapons. Now the agency is going to be the best. It actually kind of got nerfed into the ground, and really there was no suppressor that was best over there. But thing like, let's be with a Prowler. Always run the same 19.8 Prowler whenever I'm playing Warzone. Like, this is quite literally the only one you should be using in zone. Don't even mess with the 16.6 SOCOM or the Whisperer barrel. Like, don't mess with it at all. It's really not going to do you any good. You are just going to get outgunned more often than not if you don't have the 19.8 Prowler. So always run the Prowler barrel. For the underbarrel section, we can actually keep this very simple. Like, we're just going to go Yo, if you drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, something good is going to happen to you tomorrow. I promise. All right. Really appreciative of that. And then we have the perks of double time, overkill, and amped. And then we have the lethal of the thermite, which I swap out to like a Semtex, depending on how I'm feeling. And then I have the tactical as my heartbeat sensor, which is fantastic. Now it's actually going to appear into the M4A1. And we're going to be jumping into this thing. This is going to be the Atlanta phase camo. Unfortunately, you can't really buy that right now. But if you happen to have it, then you guys can definitely have, Warzone weapons. But this is kind of interesting here, at least in the thing, is that I can't really use any of the new CDL camos on my Modern Warfare guns unless I go into Modern Warfare or stuff like that, save it, and then use it in Warzone. It's kind of a little bit buggy, but let's actually jump in here to our muzzle category, and what we're going to be using is we're going to go down to the very bottom, and we're going to throw on the monolithic suppressor for that sound is going to be the best one to ever use, that you can ever use in this game. It doesn't matter if it's Modern Warfare multiplayer or if it's Warzone. The mono suppressor is just the best on every single gun. There's no reason for you guys to use anything else, in my opinion. I mean, the lightweight suppressor is just going to decrease your damage range, so we're really not trying to do that. And if you happen to have, the tactical suppressor unlocked, but not the mono, then you can use the tactical and feel more or less safe with it because you're not going to be losing damage range. But obviously, the mono is going to be the best because this actually does increase your damage range as well as help you with that sound suppression. Any of those cons down there, I really don't pay attention to them whatsoever. This is like the one attachment where I just completely disregard anything, that is a con, just because it's like, okay, sound suppression, damage range, best suppressor you can possibly use on your Modern Warfare guns. Now for the barrel section, there's only basically about 2 barrels that are going to be any bit viable here to use, and it doesn't even matter what you're playing. Basically, we have the options of the stock M16 Grenadier barrel or the Corvus Custom Marksman, but actually within the gameplay, I was using the Corvus Custom Marksman because I was really trying to rush around and be super aggressive with this gun, and if I was going to go for a very more so like long-range M4A1 build, I'd use the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, but I wanted to have a little bit more mobility, and I still felt that it was hitting incredibly hard using the Corvus Custom Marksman, so we had damage range, velocity, accuracy and recoil control. It's just we don't have it exactly as much as we would the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, but that's entirely okay. I mean, you can definitely swap this out for the stock M16 barrel, or you can use the Corvus Custom Marksman, but I was using the Corvus, and I thought it was fantastic, and you guys should definitely go to give this a shot if you haven't already. This is going to be really solid for you, and I personally really like it. For my underbarrel, I'm actually going to keep this very, very simple. We're going to be using the Commando foregrip for that recoil stabilization and then aiming stability. There's no real reason for us to go out and get kind of crazy with it and use something else like maybe like a Merc foregrip, or go down to use like a Ranger foregrip or an operator. There just really isn't any sort of benefit in that. The M4 really doesn't have too much recoil to begin with. It has, you know, a tad bit, but we've kind of, you know, lowered that here with using the Corvus barrel. And then of course we're adding on the Commando, which is going to make this, you know, the perfect balance of actually range and recoil control, but also still having some ability with still because this is supposed to be a more mobile, aggressive rushing M4 class. So that's what we're going with here on this attachment is the Commando foregrip. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, I feel like I don't really have to explain this too much, but on the ammunition side of things, we just go for the 60 round mag. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always go for the 60. It just genuinely doesn't matter. Some people have tried to tell me down in the comments section in previous videos that the 9mm is good on the M4 and the SOCOM is good, and I just tell everybody that they're tweaking, they're bugging. Like, I mean, whatever you're smoking, it's got to be great, because I mean, I must need some of that if you guys are thinking this is that good. I mean, it's really not good at all. Just only use like a 50 or a 60 round mag. I'm just only gonna use a 60, just because that's how I think it's gonna be the most beneficial for me. I like having 60 rounds in my magazine, so I'm gonna use the 60. And for my last and final attachment, what I'm gonna be using here is we're gonna use the Corp Combat Hollow Sight for that precision. Just to give us a little bit more precision. Last time we kind of messed with something through on like a laser sight, but I wanted to kind of give us a little bit more, you know, viewability of our targets, give us just a tad bit more. And so this actually does help out. I like being able to actually have more, you know, more of a clear view of our targets. It really doesn't matter what type of like, you know, reticle you happen to have on this. I've ran a few of them. I personally don't even have blue dot, and I still run the Corp Combat Hollow just because I actually like the way it looks. I like the way it feels in game here. So that's gonna be that. Like I was saying, like I'm gonna go into my reticle here. I mean, you can run the base reticle, you can run the the downward curve. It really does not matter. You can run basically any single one of these until you happen to get the blue dot. You're still gonna have fantastic success with it. But anyways, this is gonna be my M4A1 build here for Warzone. Super aggressive. You guys can get.
Every time. You big dummy. Baby, I'm talking crazy. Need you running my space. Okay, y'all.
Check your gear and weapons. Planes are making ready for deployment.
That's a good deal.
Watch the skies. Alright, that's enough fucking about. Now we do this for real. Battle Royale. Gas is approaching your position. Move to the safe zone.
Where we at? Bro, oh,
This is here.
I'll take it.
dang.
Your teammates in the gulag. If they survive, they can redeploy.
Dang. Fine. Fine.
Your teammate is... Eliminate all targets in the AO. Enemy UAV overhead.
Shit, I'm in this side.
Shit's slow, man. Shit's not fun.